Are you guys looking for a coffee that could potentially make you think a little faster? Well, Chimera Coffee has the coffee for you. Go to chimeracoffee.com, type in the coupon code Show the Art, and you can save 10% on their nootropic infused coffee. Google search nootropics, Nootropics, and learn what they can do for your brain and help you talk and think and do jujitsu better. In addition to the caffeine, it will make you feel great. So go to chimeracoffee.com, buy one of their bags, buy all their products, use the coupon code to save some money. Our next sponsor is Inverted Gear. Go to invertedgear.com, type in the coupon code ShowTheArt15 because we know you like to save 15% off on your jiu-jitsu gis, your rash guards, their shorts. They now sell jiu-jitsu gi pants separately, so you could just buy the pants. For all you no-gi heads out there, go to invertedgear.com, type in the coupon code, save 15% on all their products. It's a great deal, so do it. Our next sponsor, M85. Go to M85.com, type in the coupon code STA20, and you can save 20% off all his gear. He makes our logo. He does all our graphics for us. He's a great guy, great designer. Hit him up. He's a hard worker. Give him your money. You won't regret it. And lastly, go to showtheart.com, hit the store button. That'll take you to our Store Envy site, and type in the coupon code STAPOD, save 20%. All our products, we still got hoodies up there. Get them while they're hot. Get them while they're still available, because soon they won't be, and then you're going to be mad that you didn't purchase them. Today's guest is a BJJ black belt, teacher, competitor. He has competed and won in major titles in almost every belt rank. He is a black belt now, competing at the Worlds at the highest stage. His dynamic game is fun to watch. He is Isaac Doederlein. Isaac, how are you? Thank you for coming on.
I'm doing well, Abe. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Excellent. Dude, how's competition life? How's high level jiu-jitsu treating you these days?
Oh man, I love it. It's it's a very good life. I cannot complain. The problems that I have every day are just little things like oh, how am I gonna deal with this pass, or how am I gonna deal with this guard, and things like that. Like, that's good problems to have. I love it. I
Yeah.
really love it.
How do you get into being like a high level competitor? How did that come about? Because I'm a brown belt. I just compete every now and then. I train a lot. I teach at our school, but like it never occurred to me to like take that path. What makes you want? What made you want to take that path? Is what I'm saying.
Um, I've always been a dreamer, and anything I've ever gotten myself into, I've always wanted to get the most out of it. And when I started training jiu-jitsu, when I started kind of getting more serious about jiu-jitsu, I was in high school. I was training Megaton at the time, and I remember just really wanting to. I remember I had so many idols like Cobrinha, a lot of the Alliance guys, Michael Lange, Lucas Lepre,
Mm-hmm.
Ari Faria. So I was a huge fan of him. Just a lot of high level jiu-jitsu guys really motivated me, and I said, man, I want to be like those guys. Like how can I do it? And I tried doing it on my own, but it just wasn't. It wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed to put myself into an environment where other people were succeeding, and I saw Cobrinha at the when I was like a green belt, blue belt, I think just starting to get my purple belt.
Mm-hmm.
Cobrinha, he was still in Atlanta at the time, and he was there for 3 or 4 years, and just in that time span, like he totally turned that school into just a powerhouse. He made so many like purple and brown belt world champions. Like I remember Pedro Torres, Jordan Schultz, Alec Balding, and there's just a handful of other guys that really grew out of that school. And I was like, man, like this Cobrinha, he's I know he's a good competitor, man. He's really doing something different over there,
Yeah.
making these guys. And so when I found out that he was opening up in LA, that I lived in Arizona at the time. I said, man, I got to take advantage of that. So I put some things together, and I just basically had to make it happen. I had to put myself in that environment. So
Yeah.
I came out to Cobrinha's, and that was the biggest step. And from then on, that was it. 5.5 years later, I've just been training full time. I haven't been doing anything else, and just
So that was the main reason why you went out to train with Cobrinha, to train at a school, become his student, and pursue this type of career?
Yes.
Wow. That's a huge step, man. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I was only 18 at the time, so it was really, tough.
Yeah,
But,
right. So you were living at home?
Huh?
You were living at home at the time?
In Arizona, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I graduated high school.
Oof, man. But still, it's a big step, but you're 18. You can kind of do whatever you want at that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to Cobrinha's. Was it everything you expected? Was it harder, easier? Did it evolve over time, the training there?
Man, in the beginning it was pretty hard, but it wasn't just the jiu-jitsu. I mean, yes, the jiu-jitsu part was very tough, but I mean, obviously living on my own was really tough because I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Even my parents were like, "You're not ready," and I was like, "Nah, I'm ready." I'm ready. And because I was kind of like couch surfing for like 4 or 5 months, just kind of trying to survive. So yeah, that, in terms of that was hard because like I said, I was 18 years old. I didn't really know a lot about anything. I didn't really, I wasn't the most educated kid in high school because I was always getting into trouble or like I was just training, but eventually everything kind of worked out, and jiu-jitsu was tough too, man. I remember just seeing the techniques, and it was like the Harvard of jiu-jitsu. It was just like the way that Cobrinha was instructing it. It was just amazing, but it was just so much. It was so hard for me to understand at first,
Okay.
Like nothing made sense to me because it was just so many details, and just I didn't know that there was this. I didn't know that jiu-jitsu would even got to this level,
I hear
just
you.
How it was taught, and so yeah, it took a while for me to kind of adapt to it. But once I adapted to it, everything started to move pretty smoothly.
Nice, man. So you got to Cobrinha's.
Mm.
Did they put you on? How did you approach them? Did you just walk in the door, say, "Hey, I moved here from Arizona. I'd like to train with you guys full time. I want to be a professional athlete." What was that conversation like, and how did you fit into the school?
So yeah, I had that conversation with Cobrinha. And he welcomed me with open arms. I got in there and started training right away, and I adjusted well to the school. There's a lot of good guys there that helped me out and get me started on my feet.
Sure.
So I wouldn't be here if it weren't for a few people that really helped me out. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I was couch surfing for a while, so some of these guys let me stay on the couch, and then one guy really let me in, really helped me out, really taught me a lot about life and everything. So
yeah, like a mentorship.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a mentor. He was older. He was like 40
Nice,
or so.
Yeah, that's so
really
important in every young person's life, having a mentor, someone to look up to give you advice, to slap you on the back of the head when you make mistakes.
Oh yeah, a lot of slapping.
A lot of submissions too, right?
Huh?
A lot of submissions too, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was on my part though. I would get him.
Yeah. Now, did you get into any crazy things being 18-year-old, California, new place, new time, you're on your own? Did you get into any trouble or just training?
No, just training. Honestly, like since I left, because when I was in Arizona, yeah, okay, I got in trouble, I was an interesting kid, but when I decided to move to California, I screwed my head on straight, and I said, all right, this is all I got. and I'm going all in,
Mm-hmm.
And I really haven't done much other than jiu-jitsu ever since I left,
Nice,
you
man.
know. Yeah, I've been very focused for the last couple of years, really focused on my goals, and I haven't really looked back at all.
Sure. Now, when did you realize your goals after starting to train there? After the first month, did you say, I want to be a black belt world champion one day? I want to compete with the best in the world. I want to do all the big tournaments. Or did it take some time for you to start to believe that you can and you wanted to do those things?
Yeah, at first it was kind of like a short-term goal. Like I was thinking, I never saw myself like achieving an extremely high level and like winning at black belt. I always saw kind of for the short time. I always thought like, oh, I'm training hard, but I'm going to be a purple belt world champion or a brown belt world champion. I just never imagined that I could like succeed at the black belt level. I just never saw myself. I didn't have that much confidence. So it did take a little while for me to start to realize like, you know what, like I can really do this thing. I can really become a black belt world champion. It took a while, maybe like six months or so. I mean, like I always knew I was going to train hard and that this was going to be my life, but I didn't see myself succeeding at that level,
Yeah, I hear you.
But after a while, I started really to believe in myself and saying, telling myself, you know what, like, let's expand our goals, let's shoot for the stars. So after a while, I would say 6 months or so, I was like, you know what, I want to be a black belt world champion. I'm going to do this.
And then you went through purple belt. You went through brown belt, right? This is a couple of years.
Yep.
You had an amazing run at brown belt. You almost got that grand slam, right?
Oh man,
I know you're disappointed.
Man, yeah, I'm very disappointed. Still to this day, but yeah.
It's almost as good though. It's pretty much right there. It's still it's very impressive still.
Yeah, I couldn't. The best year so far I've ever had. It was, I won Europeans, Pan Am's, Abu Dhabi Pro, Brazilian Nationals, and I make it all the way to the finals of the brown belt worlds. And it's all I need is this last win,
Yeah.
Did you see?
I'm sorry?
Did you end up seeing that fight?
I did see the fight.
You did see the fight.
I followed your whole. I followed all your tournaments. You were just killing it at brown belt. Who could not watch?
Yeah. And I don't have much to say about that fight. It was just, hats off to the other guy though. Like, it's all good. It's all good because I really believe that everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Every moment every loss or win that's happened in my life, even in the last couple of months, I wouldn't take it back because I really believe that it all happens for a reason. And in the moment, it's really hard to see it. It's really hard to see that it's something good for you.
Yeah.
But in the long run, man, those losses, I really feel like made me better. Even like I lost in Abu Dhabi, and I lost to Pans, and I've had a rough start at this year. A black belt, just losing by by inches, but still. Those things have taught me a lot about myself mentally, and what I gotta focus on in my game, and
sure.
And really, for me, the biggest thing is it's the mind,
Mm-hmm.
I remember purple belt in the gym. I've always trained good. I've always done well in the gym, and then I would go out there and compete, and it wouldn't be the same,
Yeah.
Towards the end of my purple belt run and the beginning of my brown belt, something clicked mentally, so that's why throughout my entire brown belt career, right, in my division, I never lost. I lost twice in the finals of worlds in 2014 to Marcio, and I lost in the finals of 2015 worlds, so bitter about it, but it's all good, to this other guy, right, and and if you watch the fights, they're a little controversial, but like I said, I wouldn't take back the result. But anyways, like I figured something out mentally,
Okay.
And I was able to take that with me throughout my brown belt career, and that's why I felt when I stepped on the mat, I felt like I was like, this is my mat, like I own this, And then when I went to black belt, it was kind of like starting over again. And then my mind kind of went back to this place where I was at when I was like a purple belt, you know?
Yeah, before it clicked.
Exactly. And you know what, to be completely honest with you, I feel like up until last weekend, or up until 2 weeks ago, I wasn't able to figure it out, and then I figured it out again. You know, I remember I fought in Abu Dhabi. I lost in the semifinals 3 weeks ago, three weekends ago.
Yeah.
And just this whole day, like, just my mind, something was off my mind, you know. And I was getting inside my own head. I remember even thinking during my first fight, like I was like, you know, my mind was not right. I was like thinking, like thoughts as if I was like in the market or whatever. I wasn't in the zone. I wasn't in the moment, you know. And then I still won that fight, and I kept going, and I ended up losing by an advantage. And then I went back to my hotel in Abu Dhabi, and I started talking to my wife, and I started thinking to myself, like, why am I competing so bad? Like, why has this been happening to me, you know? And then I started to think, like, you know what? I'm gonna fight tomorrow. I'm fighting tomorrow for third place. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to, instead of thinking about what I'm going to do before the fight, I'm going to focus more on like taking care of myself, like mentally, like making sure that I'm in the zone, right? Like sometimes before you fight, your grips feel kind of weak. I was like, okay, I'm gonna slap my hands. I'm gonna make sure that they're warm, right? I'm gonna hit my legs. I'm gonna just focus on being mentally there, you know. Okay. And then I went out there with a different mindset, and ended up, you know, this guy that I fought, he was really good. He was really good, and I ended up finishing him in a minute and a half, you know.
Wow.
So I was like, and I remember feeling it even before I stepped onto the mat. I remember feeling the moment, and I was like this is like, I'm here today, you know. And I felt like I showed up. So then I what do you call it? Then you know, on the plane ride back to LA, I looked up, you know, the brackets for Vegas, right, next weekend, and I saw that there's some tough guys in my division. I said, you know what, like I'm back. I can feel that I've clicked again, and I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to fight these guys, you know. So I went out there to Vegas. I fought, you know, tough guys, and I won, you know, and I competed very well. Sure. I was like, this is the Isaac that was here at Brown Belt, you know. So
that's crazy. That mentality shift. I know, like, listening to you trying to describe it, I get that it's so hard because it's not fully describable, right? Like, you can't fully explain to people what the feeling was, what the exact mentality shift is, and you could kind of just give a brief description, but right, that's something. It's for the most part almost convincing yourself a different, like, mental focus before the match, and kind of taking the pressure off what you're gonna do in the match, right?
Yeah, and now, like, going back to, I think, what we were originally talking about is I wouldn't take back any of those losses, because those losses is what brought me to this very moment. You know what I mean? So to this very moment mentally. Like, had I won the first day in Abu Dhabi, I probably wouldn't have fixed anything mentally, and then I probably wouldn't have gone to Vegas, and I probably wouldn't have competed, and I wouldn't have fought, you know, these guys
and grown. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it sucks that I ended up losing, but that loss is what made me think, like, okay, you know what? There's something wrong with you. Like you can't ignore it. Because I remember my wife, she'd be like, oh, like every time I lost, it's like, she'd be like, Isaac, like, it's your mind. Like, I see you out there. I can tell that you're not you, you know, like what's going on? What's going on? I'll be like, no, okay, it's okay. Yeah, maybe it's my mind, but next time I'm going to do better. Or, like, I just kind of like kept putting it off. And eventually I faced it, and I was like, you know what? Like, this is it. I'm done. Like, I'm done letting this happen to me. You know. I addressed it, and you know, I feel like I've gone on to something. Maybe it'll happen again. I don't know, but I feel like in this very moment, I feel like I found what it is that I'm looking for, in that, like, mental, I don't know, clarity before the fight. And
sure.
You know.
Now, can you describe that moment, or can you relate that moment to those moments? Like, not everybody is an avid competitor like yourself. Not everybody even competes. but
Yeah.
people can relate, and I feel like what some people could relate that to is those moments when you're training and you're a blue belt, and then all of a sudden, like, you hit a move and the whole jiu-jitsu game clicks and you're like, oh man, like that's how it is. And then that moment will happen to you again later on when you're like, a late purple belt, or you just get your brown belt, and then you hit another thing, or you're talking to yourself and you start to figure things out better, and it's like, oh, like I start to really understand again. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you could keep thinking and not doing anything, and you'll slowly walk up the staircase. You're going to get better over time. Or things like this will force you to think your way through and evolve, and now you're jumping up a couple stairs as opposed to walking, right? Can you relate it to those type of moments?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, where things just click.
Yeah. Like everybody has those when they're training. So if you need help when you're competing, try to, I guess, remember back to those moments, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, do you write your feelings down at all? Like, not in a diary, but like after you compete, you're like, man, that was a good feeling. I want to describe that feeling, write it down so that I can remember it.
I do that with my training. I do that with my competing, everything. In the last year, every time like I would hit something like that in training, like the moment you're describing, like, oh, that's right, that. I write that down.
Yeah.
Make sure I don't forget that.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, every time I figure something out new, I try to write it down. So that I can always go back and remember it,
Yeah. Can you send me those notes?
Sorry?
Can you send me those transcripts?
Yeah. I've written down so that only I understand, it's hard to hits you, right? But,
yeah. It's in code, right?
Yeah, it's in code, exactly. So yeah, I do that. And then also, obviously after the competition, I wrote down what I did differently mentally, and I read it before I fought in Vegas, and it was, it was good. That's why I feel like, I didn't think about it till recently, but competing consistently is kind of important because, if you kind of forget that, it can go away,
Yeah.
You gotta find that mental clarity before each fight. And some people it's natural, some people it's not. Like for me, it's different. You see other people, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna name anybody, but yeah, there's definitely some black belts out there who are just insane mentally. Like they're just on another level, and that and you know what? Honestly, it's like that's like 80% of the game is the mind. At the black belt level, like, you see it all the time. You see guys that, myself included, like that do so well in the gym, and then they just go out there and they kind of crumble. They can't handle the pressure. And then you see some guys that just like they thrive from it, like they eat it up,
like Cobrinha.
Cobrinha, exactly, or like Marcio Andre. He eats that up, he feels the light and he just absorbs it. He's like, boom, let's go out there and get it done,
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like in training too. Like when you take 2 weeks off because you're on vacation or because you get injured or whatever, just 2 weeks off, you feel like you forget all the little things that you like to do. And like, it's like everybody knows moves, everybody knows setups, everybody could be in shape, but it's what you're saying, the consistency that brings that remembering the mentality of what you want to achieve, right?
That's why you got to write it down. I'm very, very descriptive about my training, about what goes through my mind. So yeah, I make sure that I write it down. I write down all the details, write down what I'm feeling, and then and so I can remember it, because it's easy to forget. How many different thoughts go through our head every day. Like it's easy to forget little things like that.
Now let's get into your training a little bit, since we're on the subject of competition.
Oh, for sure.
How often do you train per week as far as jiu-jitsu, strength and conditioning? Do you do any other training? Like what does a week look like for you?
So in terms of strength conditioning, I don't really do anything too special. I experiment all the time.
So you're not on that Cobrinha, Capoeira, insane fitness program.
Well, I don't. I mean, he usually does capoeira on Saturdays, right? And I teach on Saturdays, so I'm not able to make it to his class. And he's always like, Isaac, like, why aren't you doing capoeira? I'm like, Cobrinha, like, I gotta teach, I gotta make money here. Like, I want to do it. I believe in his capoeira. Like, I believe that's why Cobrinha is, like jiu-jitsu just clicked for him, because he has a good understanding of the body and movement, and that's all jiu-jitsu is. So no, I'm not on that capoeira thing. Like, I love it. I really enjoy it. Whenever we did it, there was a point when I was a brown belt where he made us do it like every day for an hour after each advanced training, after every competition class. And I loved it. But and then he started to just do it on Saturdays. And you can see, like, Kennedy, that kid moves so well, and it's and I'm telling you, like, that capoeira, it does a lot, man.
Yeah. I was about to bring Kennedy up. That kid is jacked for how young he is, and it must be all that capoeira, right?
He's like 100 and I don't know. He's like a little bit smaller than me, like size wise, but I think he's one of the strongest people I've ever felt.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, like he's stronger than people 3 times his size. It's insane.
Holy crap!
Yeah, he's a freak.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to your training, we could talk about Kennedy later.
Yeah, we'll talk about Kennedy later. So in terms of my training, so I don't, like I said, like, I'm always experimenting. Like, before Pan Ams, I was doing like circuit training, and then like before Europeans, I was just like, stretching and things like that. I always play with things, But right now, like, I've just been doing one thing I've been doing consistently is I just do pull-ups. I got a pull-up bar for Christmas, and I try to do 100 a day.
Okay.
And that's really all I do. So in terms of grips and shoulders, things like that, it's really good. But other than that, when I'm doing training, so I train twice a day, right? In terms of rolling, so I do every noon class at Cobrinha's. Every noon class. Before the noon class, I try to get an hour and a half to 2 hours of drilling. Whether it's specific training or just like flow drilling or whatever. Mm. And then I go home, and then in the night normally I teach, right, at an affiliation about 7, 8 miles away from Cobrinha's. And right after I come back to Cobrinha's. It depends on the time of the class, because all my classes are different, but sometimes I'll be able to take the whole class at Cobrinha's, or I just come back and I make it for the rolling, right? Mm-hmm. So that's my training regimen. And then on Saturdays I teach class for 2 hours, and then I roll with my students. And then every Sunday I have a few close training partners and friends that we meet up. We meet up at where I teach at the West Side, and at the West Side Training Center, and we have like a lab session, so we break things down, right? So rather it's I think I'm the highest level there. So usually it's like whatever I'm troubleshooting, like whatever I'm having problems with, I'm gonna talk about it with my friends, and we all like try to break it down, or we do like specific training, and we come up with new positions. I have a new few positions I've been working on. I don't think many people have seen. I break it down with them, and we try to just try to stay ahead of the game.
Sure. Yeah. And is that consistently like that every week, every month, every year now? That's the schedule?
Honestly, I do it all year round. I love it. Some people get burned out, right, from training. Myself, I don't get burned out, because I'm just always trying to evolve my jiu-jitsu. I'm very excited about jiu-jitsu, and I'm always thinking about like the next technique, the next step. Like, all I'm doing is thinking about jiu-jitsu. So when I go out there, it's like I'm not training to like be in shape or to go hard. I'm training to learn, to get better. Every day, all my training sessions are like that. All my training sessions are like, how am I going to be better? How am I going to improve today? How am I going to be better than I was yesterday? That's how I think. So I never get burned out. I can train all day. If I could train 5 times a day, I would do it, because I love jiu-jitsu. It's my life. I'm very, I'm always thinking about what I can improve, and that's not only just because I want to be a champion or like for the reason. It's because I love it.
Yeah. How do you keep up with training as far as energy levels? Like, because it's hard to keep up a high pace like that every week, training consistently. A lot of times by Friday, I'm toast. I'm done, and I've only trained 5 or 6 sessions that week. Do you take any supplements? Do you make sure your diet's right? Are you on a diet, quote unquote?
I don't take any supplements. I mean, I should probably take protein more. I don't know why. Maybe I'm lazy. I don't know. But in terms of diet, I don't do anything special either. Really, I eat healthy. I just eat healthy. I have, like, for breakfast, I'll have oatmeal and toast with, like, avocado and eggs, and lunch and dinner is usually like chicken or beef with rice, sometimes pasta. But no, I don't really do anything special. But the intensity is a little different with my training. So noon class, right? Once a day is always hard, right? I always go hard. I make sure I get tough training partners, and I push. I rest. I come home. My wife usually has some food ready, or we'll cook together. We'll rest for like an hour. Then we'll get some chores done, and then I'll go teach. And when I come back to the night class, it depends, right? So right now, Worlds is coming up. I train a little harder at night, but usually, like, in the nighttime, it's more like I like to experiment. I like to put myself in situations where I'm trying to improve something. So it's I sometimes I'll train hard in the night, but sometimes I like to get like like partners who aren't as like competitive, and then I'll flow more. I'll try new variations that I'm trying to figure out and things like that. So when it's not competition season, nighttime for me is more like it's like kind of like a lab session.
I hear you, and that allows you to maintain your intensity, your energy levels throughout the week, because not every session is super hard.
Yeah, and you're still training efficiently. It's not like I'm going there and just, like, I don't know, putting myself in side control the whole time and resting. No, I'm still moving. It's like I'm still staying active. I'm trying to figure things out, like paying attention to the reactions. When he does this, what am I going to do? When I do that, what's the next thing?
Now, someone like you, who's you're known for a good guard game, you're known for good passing, but let's talk about your guard, for example. How does someone like you get good at escaping side control and escaping the mount when probably in training you don't get your guard pass very much?
I mean, I'll have to admit, I don't have the best defense.
Yeah, because you don't get your guard pass.
Yeah, I mean, I still get it passed every now and then. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like
Of course.
Yeah, it's training. You're gonna get guard pass. I get my guard pass, all the time by Cobrinha and by other high level guys. It's that's part of it. But I mean, yeah, I'll be completely honest. I don't have the best defense. I know what to do because I've I've been training for so long.
Yeah.
I've been taught some ways. But I mean, if like Lucas Lepre passes my guard, like, it's gonna be really hard to get out.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Lucas, I wanted to ask you how. Maybe I'll say some names and maybe give me like a sentence describing how it is to roll with those people. So, Lucas Lepre, how does it feel to roll with Lucas Lepre? What would you compare it to?
Oh, I don't know. Lucas is just, that guy's so good, man. That guy, he's on some next level stuff, man. He just knows what to do in every situation, And rolling with him is like, it's like, I don't know, hitting a punching bag that hits you back. I don't know, like, you punch the bag as hard as you want, and boom, it hits you at a different angle. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it. Describe it. It's and he's such a good understanding of like of grips and just where he needs to be. He's constantly like applying pressure, but it's like when you push back, he like redirects that pressure in another direction. And it's just it's amazing.
Exhausting, I bet.
Like, it's really hard to explain. I don't know. I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah. How about your professor Cobrinha?
Oh, that's like getting hit at a train by a train at like 1,000 different angles. Cobrinha, man, he's, I don't know, 37, 38. You never know these guys' ages. They'll never tell you straight. But he's just, man, that guy's so good. He's just a freak, Cobrinha. I don't know. It's training with Cobrinha is like I don't know. I really don't know.
Now,
I learned
yeah.
I learned so much training with him though, and he I wouldn't be nearly as good if I wasn't training with him every day.
That's a compliment to Cobrinha. Do you feel like you do better with him now, or he's just always, getting better just like you are, and he's always a little ahead of you, a little bit, one step ahead of you?
Yeah, some days are different than others. Some days I do well, some days I don't do so well. But Cobrinha, he adapts. He doesn't like, if something isn't working for him, like let's say like one day I survive and I don't get my guard pass, the next day he's gonna he figures it out. He's constantly adapting, so it's good for me because it's constantly pushing me as well. Like, okay, Cobrinha figure this out. Like, now I got to try this, or I got to try that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always evolving, man. He never stays stagnant, never.
Yeah, speaking of Cobrinha evolving, what I've noticed from his competitions lately, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he's trying to pass, maybe the last year and a half, 2 years, he's been trying to pass more. And I've seen, like, I know what kind of guard passing Cobrinha likes now. Like, I can describe it, I could teach, hey, Cobrinha likes these passes now. Whereas before it was all guard work. It was all sweeps, getting to the back. But now I feel like I'm sure he always had a passing game, of course. But now I feel like we've witnessed it and he's forcing it upon people. So is that something that is like obvious when he's training and his goals when he competes now?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Not really. He's always just. I think Cobrinha likes to pass. I think he's always enjoyed. This is my opinion. He's never told me, but I think he likes to pass more than he likes to play guard. But maybe just in competition more. He's been more consistent, so he's been more maybe confident in his passing. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, he's no. I mean, ever since day one, he's always been. Cobrinha's guard's amazing, but I think his passing is just. His passing is incredible.
Yeah, man. The last couple of tournaments I've been watching him, just the way he's passing, it's not crazy. Like, you don't have to think of an insane like agility to do it, but just the grips he's getting, and he's forcing people to positions they don't want to be in, and then passing from there. It's like, it's beautiful to watch, just as nice as it is to watch his guard.
Yeah, I call it like, so it's something that I've been really focused on working on is the grips. If you know, watch Cobrinha and like pay attention to how he deals with like grips. I call it the grip matrix. It's like he'll break a grip, he'll keep it, and he'll use it against you, and he like positions his body in a certain way for that you can only react like a certain. You can only react like a certain way, like maybe 2 or 3 different ways, and then from there he just keeps moving forward. I call it the grip matrix. It's something I've been doing a lot too. If you watch me fight, I'm starting to do it more. It's like you break a grip, but you're using that grip to your advantage. You're not just trying to like place yourself in a certain spot the whole time. You know what I mean?
Sure. So like if somebody's in De La Riva, they got your collar, they got your I don't know, sleeve. Your sleeve. You're breaking the collar grip, and then you might be arm dragging it and keeping it there and getting a crossface. Something like that, you're saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it depends on the type of De La Riva. Let's say if you have like a De La Riva grip on my collar and on my ankle, or if you have a De La Riva grip on my collar or my sleeve, those are two completely different.
Yeah.
Those are two completely different, scenarios. Like, because the one you're limiting my footwork by grabbing my ankle. The other one, you're limiting my footwork by controlling my posture. So once I break that grip, I'm automatically free. So I can move kind of to whatever direction I want. But then when you move to that direction, you still keep the sleeve grip, right? And then now, I keep the sleeve grip. You can't push with one hand. But then you got to use your leg, right, to recover. And then once that leg comes over, you take advantage of the leg. Just little things like that.
The light bulb just went on. I'm gonna try that tonight.
Yeah. That's how I am. Like with my guard passing. Like I always pay attention to like, okay, is he controlling my footwork? Okay, yes, I'm in front of him. He's controlling my footwork, but how? If he's controlling about my posture, then all I got to do is break that grip, and then I can move, right? If he's grabbing about my leg, then okay, I got to think more about pressure passing. Okay, like he's grabbing my leg, I can't move. I got to shove the leg in the middle. I got to try a knee slice. I got to try and folder pass. I got to try and like work with what I got, So it's like always that's how I see jiu-jitsu. It's like whenever a guy controls me, I always think, okay, how is he controlling me? Like, can I move my legs? Okay, I can move my legs. So now I'm gonna try to, once I get free, I'm gonna use my footwork, or I'm gonna use my footwork while he's controlling me. You know, so it's like that. Sometimes for me, that's why it's like I'm such a thinker. Sometimes it works against me because sometimes I think too much, and then you know what I mean.
I hear you, man.
So the goal is to like drill and get to the point where you don't think. So then like you can be like, boom, my legs are free. Let's go. You know what I mean? And
sure.
You can just start to deal with it.
Yeah, but there is some thinking involved, like you said, where you're trying. You know, your natural instinct is to break this grip, but it's not working. All right, strategy shift. That's the thinking. But once the strategy shift goes into play, that's when the thinking stops again, and you're going off your natural instinct, right?
Exactly. Precisely.
Interesting. I'm going to use this. And one of the reasons why I have the podcast to begin with is to educate people, give people tips, help them out with their training. So I hope that this little tidbit helps people out with passing and sweeping and thinking about jiu-jitsu in a different sense, in a different way to evolve, because that's what it's all about. Getting better, changing. Now, there's been some controversy with some of your past opponents and taking supplements that are not allowed. What do you feel about this?
It's sad, because like I was mentioning before, I don't really take anything. And to hear that, other guys that I'm fighting against are cheating and getting an extra advantage, it's really not unmotivating, but it's really sad, because I pour my life into this, man. I pour my life into this, and to hear that like the other guy's cheating, it's like, really? And then at the end of the day, there's not really any justice for it, right? Because, okay, so I'm just gonna throw this out there. Like, I got third at the Worlds. I lost to Paulo Miao, and then Ari, he got second at Worlds. He lost to Paulo as well. Okay, so what they're probably gonna do is they're gonna bump me up to second, bump Ari up to first, and we'll probably get medals in the mail, and then that's it. But it's like, okay, I don't feel like a silver medalist because I lost to this guy, right? And I'm sure Ari, I don't know how he's gonna feel, but I don't know. I mean, Ari's a little different, right? Because he fought Gabriel Marias a couple years ago. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then he stepped out on the mat and he got penalized and ended up losing. But he really won. So maybe for him it's like that's like a different redemption. So maybe he's gonna. So obviously I feel pretty good about that because it's like, I don't know, you're getting something back from it. But anyways, what do you call it?
You don't feel justice has been dealt with.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't feel like justice has been dealt with. I feel like the right thing to do would be to have the last guy to lose to Paulo on one side of the bracket was me. The last guy to lose to Paulo on the other side of the bracket was Ari. So they should have us fight. I feel like that would be the right thing to do, is have us fight, and then the winner gets first and the loser gets second, and then I feel like that would justify it more because I'd actually feel like you won something,
Yeah. Now, what do you do with third place? Just keep the other guy who was double third place. He's just the official third place.
I'm guessing because he lost to Ari, he didn't lose to Paulo, right?
Yeah. So that does make sense, and actually, this is a good case for utilizing the fact that IBJJF gives 2 bronze medals. Now you can kind of get away with having 2 bronze medal guys.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. A suspension is good and I guess fair in some sense, but the other people like yourself that have competed and lost to someone who has cheated, you need your redemption just as much. Slapping somebody on the wrist and punishing them is one thing, but making it fair for the others, that's a completely different story, right?
Yeah, because I'm never gonna get that day back. Mm-hmm. I'm never gonna get it back. After the day I lost, and it's I can walk around and be like, yeah, and this silver medalist of the world is my first year's a black, blah 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 blah, but still lost. Doesn't really mean anything. So yeah, I just wish that we could get redemption another way.
Sure. And a lot of people think like performance enhancing drugs, a lot of times people just assume them with steroids and building muscle and bulking up and getting crazy strong and crazy fast, but a lot of times it's really just so that you can recover and train more than the other guy, right?
Yeah, and you know what? That's almost even worse.
That's worse, yeah.
Worse than getting stronger, because I train, like I mentioned before, I train twice a day and I drill. If I take something to recover, I could train 5 times a day, 6 times a day. I could train as much as I want and keep on recovering, right? So that's a huge advantage, because you know how I mentioned before how I train. It's very mental. Like, you're really trying to work out details and get more technical. Well, you have an advantage to do that like 3 times as much.
Yeah.
So you can get better in general, and it's not fair. It's not fair. And yeah, I just that's how I see the situation. I don't think it's right at all. And I don't. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm sure there's many other people who do these types of things and don't get caught. But
yeah,
it should be a wake up call to everybody. Like, guys, it's not cool to do stuff like that. Let's especially in martial arts, when you train martial arts, it's all about respect and honor, and discipline. Let's bring that foundation back to even competition, and have respect for yourself and your competitors. Have the honor that you're doing things the right way, right?
And the sad thing is that it's so normal in our sport that people are doing this, that like people don't even really care. People are like, oh no, it's okay. Like, you're still a champion in my eyes. You still won, or this and that. It's like, bro, you cheated. Look at Lance Armstrong. Like, he admitted to it, and everyone's giving him crap. But since in our community, it's so normal for people to do this, that like people are accepting it, and they're not like, they're totally cool with it. And it's really sad. Yeah. It's really sad, because it's cheating. It's cheating.
Mm-hmm. So do you know, without saying names or giving any hints, for a fact of people that are doing it and they're completely fine with it, and the people that they know are completely fine with it?
Oh yeah.
100%. And it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, man.
Wow.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And it's like, yeah, I guess I don't know about it, so it doesn't matter to me as a spectator, right? But it should matter, because the spectators are what influence the competitors at some level. And if the spectators, us, we don't like you because all we hear about is you under the table taking things that you're not getting caught for, and we don't like you anymore. We don't support you. We don't root for you. We don't watch your videos or buy your custom gis. That's going to, in turn, force you to change your lifestyle, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That sucks, man. But, I'm sure that you're going to come back strong, just as strong, and keep doing things the way you do them. You seem like a very honorable guy, and I have confidence that without any supplements, you'll still be able to compete with all these guys that do.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah.
For sure, man. Now, what are some of your competition goals coming up? What are your goals for this year and next year?
So, obviously, my goal is to become a black belt world champion. There's not much more to it. That's all I dream about, man. And that, the world's coming up. I'm training really hard for this. And that's all I'm thinking about right now is the worlds. And then obviously after the worlds, I'm going to fight in the ACB competition, the Grand Prix. You know what that is?
Yeah, in Berkut, right?
Berkut organization, yeah. So I'm going to fight in that, I think a month after.
Is that Germany, right, or Russia?
It's the organization's in Russia. I don't know where the Grand Prix is yet, but so I'm going to do the worlds, and after I'm going to do that. But that's all I'm focused on right now. And in the long run, I want to win worlds at least 3 times. At least. And,
now, what do you do when you compete with your instructor in the same bracket?
Oh, I mean, we're going to close out for sure. I will never fight. I'll never fight my master, Sure. I can never do that.
Yeah, well, I meant like you guys close out how does that work? Do they give you both gold medals? Does one of you take the first, one of you take the second? What do they let you do?
One's gonna have to take first, and one's gonna have to take second. Yeah.
Okay.
There's only one gold medal, obviously. So
there can only be one.
There can only be one.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I didn't assume that you would fight him. Of course not. I just wanted to know what IBJJF allows you to do.
Yeah, that's what they allow us to do. Is one person has to kind of bow out.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of also like the goals, my goals are not just for me, but I want to be third American to win black belt worlds. I want to make a mark in American Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Because that means something more to me. That means more to me than just being a world champion in general. Is showing that American Jiu-Jitsu is on the rise. And that we can do it.
Sure.
That we can do it. I want to win multiple times at Worlds and be the first American to do that. That's for me. That's the biggest goal.
That's a lofty goal, my friend. But I'm sure you could do it. Hey, I'm not doubting you, and no one should. Like I said, you're a very good competitor. You're very young. You train with a great team, and you seem like you're focused on the right things, mentality, and improving. Those are all the recipe to become great, right?
Yep, that's it. I've been doing this grind for almost 6 years, and and I got a lot of grind left in me.
Now, are you looking into doing any super fights, any no-gi matches? Because no-gi lately has been on the rise, and a lot of people are paying competitors to compete in no-gi more so than gi. I guess because IBJJF focuses more on the gi, and there's a big-time show, and a lot of people are making their name for themselves, making these smaller no-gi organizations. So, do you have any interest in that, in super fights?
Yeah, in terms of no-gi, I haven't been training as much, because of the Worlds. But yeah, after the Worlds, I'm gonna start to focus a lot on no-gi. In terms of super fights, I don't really know how that's gonna work out because I haven't signed yet with the Berkut, right? With that organization,
yeah.
ACB. But if I do sign, I can only compete super fights under them. Right?
Okay.
But the prize is very good if you. So, I mean,
are we talking six figures here?
Not quite, but it's. I think it's the biggest. I think it's the biggest prize you can win in jiu-jitsu.
Nice.
Yeah, I know Edwin when he won his.
He was smiling.
Oh man, he made a lot of money.
Yeah. Hey man, Russia, they got money.
Oh, they got money.
Just by your answer, not quite. You didn't shut it down completely. You didn't say you didn't laugh at the idea of six figures. You're just like, not quite, but I'm smiling.
Yeah. It's up there.
Yeah.
For jiu-jitsu, it's up there.
Dope. That's awesome, man. And that's great to hear. Unfortunately, it has to come from another country than ours, but still, hey, I'll take it. Take it where I get it.
Yeah, right? Hey, if someone's handing it out, I'm going to take it. I'm not handing it out, but
yeah,
offering it, I'm going to fight for it.
Sure. And finally, before we go, we had you over for a seminar. I think you're an excellent instructor. You're great at teaching seminars. Please let people know how they can reach you to sign you up for a seminar.
So the best way is to, email me, isaacdoederlein@gmail.com. It might be hard to know how to spell my name. So just go to my Instagram. It's probably pretty easy to find. And, look me up, send me a message. And I'm down to do seminars, whenever. Just let me know and I'll be there.
Sweet. And what are your Instagram handles, your social media handles, so they know exactly where to go to follow your journey and to like your pictures and to comment on your videos, which people you're gonna do now. You have to.
Yeah. So my Instagram, I don't really use much of social media. I just do Instagram, which is at ISAACDOEDERLEIN. So that's my Instagram. Facebook, same name, like the page, and
boom.
Hit me up.
Do it, guys. Again, Isaac, boom. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for giving us insight on your training and on your even your personal life and your goals. I think it's going to educate a lot of people and help them out with their training, because we all need it, and it means a lot coming from someone like you who's in the game, who trains with the best, who is one of the best, and who competes at a high level. So thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.